Hi, my name's Leigh Pond and welcome to my fishing year. The second in a four-part series filmed here today at Pitsford Reservoir. It was meant to be Grapham, but unfortunately there's been a massive algae bloom. And the trouble is there is that you lose the visibility, fish can't see the buzzers, which is what we're there for today, buzzer fishing. Spring has finally arrived at last. And wow, look what we've got in store for us today. A light breeze, overcast, and buzzers hatching off all over the place. I can't wait to get out there and get them. We're going to use a couple of different methods today. One's going to be the controversial bung method, and the other's going to be straight line nymphing. Let's see which one works out the best. Come and join me, we're going to get some. And there's one of the best anglers on the lake, drying his wings out. Cormorant, I hate to see them, but they're always a good indication that there's a few fish in the area, because if they're there for a reason. And the reason is there's fish here. Let's hope so. Right, we're here, Sailing Club Bay. Can't wait to get going. It's the first time I've fished buzzers this year. First time I've had the opportunity. Every time I've been out, it's been either blowing a hoolie, freezing cold. Today, I've got a nice light ripple coming off of this shore. Overcast. And as we're driving across, the buzzers are hitting us in the face. And if you look along the tree line there, you can just see all the birds working along there, mopping up the buzzers as they're hatching off. I've set up with two methods today, both on a floating line. I've got two rods set just to make it easy to change over rather than taking down the whole shebang and starting again. On the first rod, I have the controversial, in some people's eyes, bung method, which is pretty much fly fishing with a float, if you want the honest truth. But, you know, it's like all good methods that are successful, people hate it. Certain people hate it. I'm not one of those. You've got the bung, which is a floating fly, basically, made out of foam, 6 inches from the fly line. The next fly down, 2 foot away from that again. Sorry, 4 foot away from that rather. 4 foot, and then a size 12 buzzer. The next fly, another 4 foot, and another buzzer. 12, a size 12. All on 8 pound fulling mill, fluorocarbon, fluoro rather. And again, the next one, another 4 foot. A slightly heavier buzzer on the point, just to drag it down and get it down faster. Because the whole idea, this doesn't start fishing until the whole thing actually catches up with itself and it's sitting directly below that bung. So that all three of those flies are sitting directly below that. And the idea is to keep it as static as possible. I don't want that to move at all. I don't want the wind to move it. I don't want me to move it. I just want it to sit there absolutely static as I can. So even though we're fishing from a drifting boat, I'll keep on mending my line around to keep those flies as static as I can, because that's what those buzzers are doing. They're hatching from the bottom as a bloodworm, and they're coming up from the bottom, and then they'll stop at certain points just to take a small rest before they get to the surface and make that transition into an adult fly and fly off. And that's when the trout intercept them on their way up. And it can be at any depth, and that's why the beauty of this is that you're fishing at 3 different depths. So whatever's travelling along that line, that depth, will intercept those flies. And it's a great way of telling exactly where the trout are, because as soon as you start catching on this, you'll know they're either 8 foot, 3 foot, whatever, 4 foot. Wherever you set those flies, you'll know that's where the fish are feeding. So if anything, that's a great way of actually just testing out where the fish are, to fish a different method even. You may want to fish, I don't know, a die 3, die 5 or whatever, but you can find out if they're at 8 foot down, you'll know. If they're at 12 foot down, you'll know, just by this method alone. Another thing, well, one of the ways I actually judge the distance of my flies is, I know that this rod is 10 foot. I know it sounds simple and it's just an easy way of judging where your flies are. Hang on. as long as they're not tangled like that, of course, is to just wind that top fly up to the top ring. Then you can see exactly where you are as far as the depth's concerned. Or as long as you know where those flies are. I mean, that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rings down from the top of the rod. So you know that that's going to be 3 foot. The next one's 8 foot, which is down onto this middle ring here. And then my last one is 2 foot below the end of my rod, which is 12 foot. And I know that's 12 foot because the rod's 10, obviously. The second method we've got, floating line again. Very, very similar setup, except without the bung really, or the float, or whatever you want to call it. Indicator, a lot of people call it what you like, it works. And all we've got is 4 buzzers. Same sort of setup again, almost, well, not the same spacing in actual fact. We're going to have a longer leaner on this. The flies are spaced out a lot further apart. Nice long leader links. Again, I've got 3 size 12 buzzers and 1 heavy buzzer on the point. And the idea of this method is literally casting it out, and it doesn't matter if it moves a bit, let the wind take it, let the wind arc it round, and as those buzzers are just swinging around in the wind, jag, you'll feel it take it. Well, that's the theory. We'll find out in practice if they're on them today. I do hope they are. There's plenty of buzzers hatching off. Let's give it a try. I can't wait to get going, to be quite honest. So a lot of people associate this with sort of coarse fishing. And basically because it's a float. Now, what I try and do is, as I say, keep that fly coming straight back to me, so I'm continuously mending my line. So that again, that flies, that float, that indicator when those buzzers are just straight down at 90 degrees with no drag on it whatsoever. Just coming back to me naturally, but don't leave any slack line in between it, because if you do get a take, you want to be straight on that fish. They'll reject it as quickly as they've taken it, trust me. They'll spit that out in an instant. As soon as they feel that drag of that indicator behind them, they'll spit it straight out again. So you need to be right on them. As soon as that goes, sometimes it can be just the merest little movement. And sometimes I'll strike and I don't even know why I've struck, because that indicator's just done something different that it didn't do for the last 2 hours. Come on. You can do it. Right there, do it there. And when I do come out, I do lift it out slowly, because sometimes you do get a fish take you just as you're lifting out, just as those buzzers move, which is the natural thing that they'll be doing, which will be ascending to the surface, just a straight lift out. Now, I don't cast this out very far. One reason is you can't see it when it's too far out. My eyes have got too bad. The second reason is you lose a lot of control when you're too far away. Now, it only takes probably 10 seconds for those flies to actually get down and get fishing. And that's the main reason for that, is that heavy buzzer on the end. That drags it down quick. But I do find I catch a lot of fish on that bottom fly. We're just drifting at a slight angle. So I'm getting that slight belly in my line. And when I get that belly like it is now, just mend the line. Very slightly mend the line. That slackens it off, and that makes your buzzers sink straight back down again. Hundreds of Canada geese here now. It's become a permanent fixture almost. There's a real diversity of wildlife in Pitsford Reservoir, and there's a very large nature reserve at in the small half. And people come from all over the countryside to see it. Sailing club frontage. Looks like we're going out a bit now. I don't want to go out, I want to just drift along this bank. Literally just want to go 90 degrees to this bank. That would be the ideal drift. I don't want to be going out into the reservoir at the moment. I want to try and stay fairly close to the banks. We might give it a drift out in the deeper water later if we don't do any good. I mean, that's fishing. Sometimes you come out for a day's buzzer fishing, and if they're not on it, they're not on it, and you're going to have to try something else. But I'm not giving up yet. The other thing about this method is a very relaxed way of fishing. You're not thrashing the water to a foam every 2 seconds casting, especially if there's not a lot of wind. The downside is you can't take your eyes off the bung. You cannot take your eyes off it for a split second, because I can assure you, if you go like that, it'll go under. As soon as I look round like that, it'll go. I know it would, because that's just the very nature of it. I'll pick up, have a cup of coffee. It shoots under every time. I was going to say, if I was going to go anywhere and I'd want to catch a fish doing this would be the spot. Hey, that's him. Whoa, now that's what you call jumping out. Oh, he's gone right behind the boat straight away. Talk about fit. That jumped out the water about 6 foot. Wow, look at that go. Look, that's so fit. I can't believe it. That's on that top dropper again. They're really not that deep, these fish. Look at that. That's how close it is. Good fish again. Look at that. Whoa! Leaping clean out of the water. Jump again, I dare you, I double dare you. That's proper bung fishing, that is. I'm in a real tangle now. Get me in a real mess. I'm going to have to get a grip on him. Oh, he's come out. Right. That's truly in there. That's going to take a little time to recover, I think. Come on.